Governor Abbott wants the feds to declare Mexican drug cartels as terrorist organizations. Deadly fentanyl is coming across the Texas border. 4 million pills seized last month. Fox 4's Sean Rabb looks at what a federal designation would mean for Texas if it happens.
It would mean a lot of additional tools and resources coming to Texas as drug overdoses and deaths escalate across our region.
To be quite frank, we were a little surprised and very concerned about what we saw.
MedStar's Matt Zavadsky concerned about the troubling trend of drug overdoses.
As recently as August, we had one of our highest overdose response volumes, but the trend is continuing to increase over the last several months.
MedStar averaging about 3 overdose calls a day.
But many of the patients don't know why they overdosed, but we do know that they were exhibiting the signs and symptoms of an overdose.
People not just overdosing, but dying. The Dallas County Medical Examiner tells me since September 21st, 2017, hundreds of Dallas County residents have died from fentanyl.
We've had 464, and we just ran for 2022 alone, that is from January until today, we've had 128. So we've seen an uptick in cases that had fentanyl as part of their cause of death.
The 2020 National Drug Threat Assessment, the latest year available, lists fentanyl and methamphetamine as persistent problems, potent and cheap, flooding the U.S. from the southern border. Governor Greg Abbott, by executive order, has designated Mexican drug cartels as terrorists in Texas, and he wants the feds to do the same.
I also sent this letter to President Biden as well as Vice President Harris, demanding that they classify Mexican drug cartels operating in Texas as terrorist organizations.
In many communities, fentanyl especially, it is a form of terrorist activity.
Former U.S. Attorney Richard Roper says if the White House did tag Mexican drug cartels as terrorist groups, that would green light the federal government
to prioritize fentanyl enforcement more so than they did. It could open up federal resources and as to the prosecution of drug trafficking organizations that would be designated, then it would allow federal prosecutors to have more remedies to prosecute traffickers in fentanyl and the cartels in general.
But the drug game is big business, very lucrative in the U.S., so much so that even if labeled as terrorist, many cartels might still consider the cat and mouse game with law enforcement worth the risk. Sean Rabb, Fox 4 News.